Today we're gonna talk about civilization, and it's not important if we talk about Civilization 2, Sid Meier's Civilization or some other clone. It is absolutely not important what we are talking about. They all have exactly the same flaw. So if you don't know this kind of games, it's an old concept. In the end, you start somewhere in the far past, mostly about 5000 before our time, and you end somewhere in 2000 and something. And in some games you go into the future, some games completely are completely played in the future on other planets or whatsoever. But the thing is, and this is the important thing that all these games get wrong, it's the tech tree. You see, all the games start with agriculture and then go into whatever, this leads to whatever, this leads to whatever, this leads to whatever. I mean, some of the games did this by saying, okay, you can come from this thing and go into this, or you come from this thing and go into this. And in one of the future settings, you had a complete network of different technologies. But in the end, it implies that each and every culture will move from agriculture over blah 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 to rocketry, to satellites and so on. So if you play this game in single player alone on the world, you will always go the same way. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese, if you're German, if you are an Aborigine, if you are whatever. It does not matter for this game. This game states that all go the same way. And this was especially funny in games like Civilization 2, where all had to have elephants and all had to have crusader knights and so on and so on and so on. And this was always kind of silly, because different cultures evolve in different ways. And it is as easy as that. Not each and every culture will come to the reason that they will have to ride on horsebacks. Not every culture will come to the idea that they have to ride on an elephant. Not each and every culture will use gunpowder in the same way. There will be similarities, of course, but not all civilizations are destined the same path. And this is where Civilization and all these games around that and all the clones and so on err. They all state that all cultures are the same, and I don't mean this in the sense of that some cultures are better than others. What I say is pretty much that it is that there are differences, and we evolve perhaps not all in the same direction. This might come as a shock to some of you, but that's the way it is. And this is one of the interesting things, because this is kind of an aftermatch of my video about Black Panther, where I stated that if you leave Africa absolutely alone and they reach some kind of future utopia, it would look different to our utopia. They might have flying cars, but they would look different to our flying cars. And I don't think that this is a bad thing. This is one of the interesting things. Why should this be a bad thing that we are different? I never understood that. But let's discuss it. But yeah, that's about it. That's the problem in all the Civilization games. We are different. This game tries to do that. Most of the games try to do this with special units and special things, but it all comes down to the tech tree. It all comes down to this. It's not true that we all evolve exactly the same way. So the thing is, whenever you play Civilization, it does not matter if you play as German, as Austrian, as American, as Chinese, as Maya. It doesn't matter. You always play America. You always do. I mean, there is no distinction between the cultures in the end. They all look the same, more or less. There are some optical tweaks now and there, but in the end, it all comes down to that. We all play just plain old America in these games.